very famous.
Yeah.
When he became very famous, so he started doing ads for Paul Stewart men's. Paul Stewart's a very exclusive men's shop in the city. And I guess he wore Paul Stewart suits and stuff. So I called Rabbi Brafman over Shalom, and I told him he should watch his brother because I forgot it, Bruce Cutler. I don't know if you remember the name. He was Gotti's lawyer.
I remember that. Yeah.
And I remember reading newspaper articles. One of the reasons the feds hated his guts and they went after him because he came to court in $3,000 suits, and they're wearing suits from Robert Hall for $100, the federal prosecutors. So I read that. I called Rabbi Brafman right away. I said, you better speak to your brother. He should watch himself. Chas v'sholem. They shouldn't have kin on him, the feds, like they did to Bruce Cutler.
I hear. It's interesting. I remember that name, Taka. Now that anything happened to him because of that?
Yeah. They said he's part of Gotti's part of his crew. He's not his lawyer. He's part of the mafia. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
I hear.
Yeah, Ben Brafman also represented Gotti, no?
And then a question representing him. He represents a lot of crooked nose guys, but depends if that's why he said he shouldn't make them jealous of him. He doesn't have to put it in their face. Walk around with diamond pinky rings and $5,000 suits. They don't do that to them.
Yeah.
Like Gotti with a $5,000 suits. He doesn't have to prove anything, Ben Brafman.
Yeah, no, it is. But people, and then you have to worry about raising the bar, right? Raising the bar for people. And then people look and people talk and et cetera, et cetera. Yeah. Okay, so now we have a new Perek tonight and the rest of the week. As Hashem. It's not the most geschmacka Perek in the world. I have to, at least from what I've seen. It's technically.
Right,
yeah, enjoy your pool, Avi. Avi's such a Zor. He's going to the mikveh now for Rosh Hashanah.
Well, yeah. Well, you know what? I didn't want to miss this year, so.
Very good. Very good.
You think I had a problem?
Anyways, so basically, this Perek is talking about when a woman brings in her belongings to the marriage, so it goes to the husband. So basically, as a hakdama, there's two types of belongings that a woman brings into the marriage. And we had it a bunch of times, so let's just hazard it. There's nichsei milug and nichsei tzayin barzel. Most of what happens in our marriages nowadays.
Isn't that what gives you the headaches?
What do you mean?
Didn't you say that when you were in a yeshiva, nichsei milug, nichsei tzayin barzel? That's what.
Yes, it does. I'm slowly, as I'm working on it, it's slowly maybe settling into my brain. Right? But so basically what it is, and most of this Perek is going to be talking about nichsei milug. Most of what a woman brings into the marriage is nichsei tzayin barzel. Now, the way to remember which one is which is barzel is a metal. So basically what she brings into the marriage, if they evaluate it, let's say she has a field that belongs to her, right? So that field gets evaluated and it goes to the husband, but he has to give it back to her when he dies or when he gets divorced. She's guaranteed her return, meaning they evaluate, let's say they evaluate the field that's worth $10,000. She's guaranteed to get back $10,000 from the husband, whether that field is worth $5,000 when he dies or divorces her, or whether it's worth $50,000. So she's basically taking a very conservative approach to that. That's anything that she brings in, anything that gets evaluated before the marriage, how much it's worth. He gets to use it, but he has to give it back to her at the price that it was evaluated. That's tzayin barzel. That's what it means metal. So, nichsei milug is what she brings into the marriage that doesn't get evaluated. So normally that doesn't apply because what she brings into the marriage gets evaluated. Right? But if let's say she yarshins or she wins a lottery and she gets money or she gets fruit or she gets this or she gets that. So the din is that the husband gets the field. The husband gets to use the field. He gets all the payers from the field, but the field remains the wife's. So let's say that field it started off at worth 10 grand. and then it was worth 100 grand, the wife gets it at 100 grand. The husband just gets to use the payers, right? So that's basically, that's nechse milug, where it just fluctuates. So again, barzel means her worth does not fluctuate, and milug is that it does fluctuate. So basically what we're going to be discussing here is milug, where she gets a Yerusha. Let's just call it a Yerusha, but it can be anything. She could win a lottery. She can find a field. She could be a squatter for 3 years and get a field. Whatever way she gets the field, but it's after, it's not being evaluated. So since it's not being evaluated, so the din is that the husband gets to use the fruit of the field and she gets the field, right? The field remains hers. So the question becomes, does she have a right to sell this field? Right, the husband gets to use the fruit. So he's been going on his merry way. Every season he goes and gets his fruits from the field, and then all of a sudden he comes there and his wife sold the field on him. So does he have a right to say, hey, you can't sell the field? The problem is we're stuck because the field belongs to her. So why can't she sell it? On the other hand, he gets to eat the fruit. So basically the fruit are his and the field is hers. So does she have the right to sell it? So basically this Mishna is going to go through 4 different scenarios. And what you have is like this. She can have a field before she was engaged, then she gets engaged, and then she sells it. Or during the engagement, she can get a field. Let's say she yarshins a field when she's engaged, and she sells it when she's engaged. Or she can get a field before she was engaged and not sell it till after she's married, right? Or she can get a field after she's married and sell it after she's married. So those are basically 4 scenarios, and each one is going to have what the din is. Does she have the right to sell it? Does she not have the right to sell it? So let's see. So Zog the Mishna. Let's say it falls to her property, right, before she got engaged, and then Rashi says, and then she got engaged. So now she wants to sell it. So both Beis Shammai and Beis Hillel, who are going to have a disagreement later in the Mishnah, agree that she could sell it, and she can give it away to somebody, v'kayim, and that it works, and the husband can't say anything. Right? That's case number 1. So again, case number one is basically where she buys it, she gets it before they were engaged, and she wants to sell it during the engagement. Yeah.
Is Rashi's Venice Arsa Dafka as opposed to Nises?
Yes. Rashi is specific that she got engaged because Nises, meaning the further she gets into the relationship, the harder it becomes for her to be able to sell it. Right? So again, the first case is where she had it before the engagement, then she got engaged. Okay, so then it works because she's not really married. Right? Naflula means she's married, but it's not, the second stage of marriage. That's case number 1. Case number 2 is Naflula minishinis arsa. If she got it from when she was engaged, so now she's already in the husband's rishus. So then it was a Machlokes. Bishami says she's allowed to sell it. But and Rashi says she's allowed to sell it till they're married. Once they're married, she cannot sell it. She can't sell it. And but they both agree that if she did sell it, then Kayim, then it works and it's considered sold. So again, case number 2. Okay. Yeah. Case number 2. Case number 2 again is if it fell to her when she was engaged already, so then she has less power over it. But she wants to sell it before she gets married. That's a Machlokes of Shammai's Hill. But according to everybody, if she did sell it, it works. So Amr of Yehuda. So Yehuda says, maybe that's a kasha on this. Amru Chacham l'fnei Reb Gamliel, that the Chacham said to Reb Gamliel, Hayol b'zacha b'isha. When a man gets married, he's zoicha in the wife. Right? He gets her belongings. So lo yiske b'nechasim, meaning he buys the wife. Essentially, the wife becomes his. He's not going to be zoicha in her belongings. Right? So Amalahem ala chadoshim anu baishim. They said we are embarrassed about the new Yerusha that she gets. And you're going to go roll on to us even the old stuff that she has, meaning Rabbi Gamliel is saying we don't need to understand why if she's married and she inherits land, we don't understand why the Chacham say she can't sell it, even though we agree. Then we're not disagreeing. That meaning when she inherits after she gets married, the Chacham, everybody agrees that she cannot sell it. But he says we're having a hard time understanding that, and you want to try and tell us that even if she inherits stuff when she's only engaged, right? So that's what Rabbi Gamliel said back to the Chacham. Yeah, so that's case number 2. Naflula, then case number 3, Naflula Mishanisas, when it falls to her from when she got married. They both agree that if she sold the land or she gave it away, the Baal can come, meaning the husband could come and take it away from those that bought it from her. Right? Right. So here you see the Beferish that after marriage she cannot sell it, and he can go take it away from the people that bought it. Fine. Actually, Nissus v'Nissus, the last case, is let's say she yashined it before she was married. I mean, she was engaged already, and then she got married, and then she wants to sell it. Again, right? The last case was the most extreme, which was that she yashined it after they were married, and she sold it after they were married. This one is that she had a Yerusha before they were married, but after they were engaged, but she sold it after they were married. So Galil Laimer, if she sold it or gave it away, then Kayim, then it works, right? Because again, this is not as strong because Lamaisa, she yashined it before she was married. So therefore he's saying that she does have some sort of right to sell it, even after she's married. So Amar Rab Chanina ben Akavya, Amar Amru Lefnei Rabbi Gamliel, Hayel Bazacha Be'isha, same question as before, but he has a little different version of what was going on. So since he was Zacha with an Isha, La Yiska ben Achasim, since this becomes his wife and he owns her, shouldn't he also get her belongings? On the new things, we're embarrassed. But you want to also put on to us the old things, right? Meaning we don't understand the psak, but that's what we do. We'll see in the Gemara exactly more about that. Either way, those are the 4 cases and the Machlokes that are involved, of whether she's allowed to sell or whether she's not allowed to sell. Reb Shimon, Chaylek bein nechasim lenechasim. Reb Shimon, he says it depends what type of property she inherited. Nechasim, how you do him lebal. So nechasim that the husband knows about, loisimchar, she's not allowed to sell it. Ve'im machra v'nasna batal. If she sells it or she gives it away, it's batal. She's not allowed to. The husband knows about it, and the Gemara is going to say the reason why she can't sell it is because the husband knows that this girl has property. So when he's marrying this girl, he's assuming he's getting the property. So she can't go sell it on him. But if he doesn't know about it, then she's still not allowed to sell it. But the imachra, but if she sells it or gives it away, so kayim, then that works. All right. So that's we'll see on Amar Beis exactly what's considered Yedua and what's not Yedua. But again, basically, Rav Shimon is saying that she can never sell the belongings. But if he didn't know about it and she sold it, then it's okay. Basically, there's a lot of room here for marital strife, right? With all this, it's almost like a business deal that's going on over here. She's trying to hide things from him. He's trying to get it all back. Okay, we'll see in the Gemara more about that. Okay, so again, the first 2 cases in the Mishnah, the first one was where she inherited land before she got engaged, and she sold it after she was engaged. So everybody agrees that she's allowed to sell it, and it works. The next case was she yashined it after they were engaged, but she sold it when they were engaged. So that's a Machlokes B'Sham v'Hillel, but bidieved, everybody says that if she did sell it, it works. So Gemara asks, Mishna Reisha Deloi Pligi, Mishna Sefer the Pligi. How come in the Reisha there's no Machlokes, meaning B'Sham and B'Hillel both agree that she's allowed to sell it? And how come in the Sefer, when she inherits it when she's engaged and she sold it when she's engaged, there Beis Hillel disagrees about the lechatchila, and Beis Hillel says she's not allowed to sell that land lechatchila. In the Reisha, it fell in her schus, meaning it wasn't his. She got it before she was even engaged. So therefore, what does he have to do with it? Seifa b'schusai naflu, but in the Seifa, it fell in his schus because he was already engaged to her. So once he's engaged to her, he does get her property. So that's what Basil says in the Seifa. She's not allowed to sell it. So Gemara asks, in b'schusai naflu, okay, so if it's in his schus, so how come Basil says that if she sold it, or she gives it away, so then why does it work? It shouldn't work. It goes to him. So we say that shot is not a good shot. In the Reisha, it definitely goes in her schus. Right? Seifa, Eimer b'schusa, but the Seifa, maybe it's in her schus, maybe it's in his schus. Meaning why? Because they're only engaged. Not all engagements does the marriage materialize. So how do we know that it's really in his schus? Meaning, yes, he's engaged to her. So he does have some schusim in her, but it's not full because they're not married. So how do we know which one is which? Maybe we don't know. So therefore, we don't know. So therefore, so we have to be choshev that really it does belong to him. So she's not allowed to sell it. But if she did do it, then it is kayim, because bottom line is she's not married yet.
But see, Yaakov, he has full schusim in her beforehand. It's just that they're not like. Are they talking about the din derabanan that he gets her possessions? What does it mean? The suffix.
It's just that there's this more of a chance.
I'm saying it's kedushin deraisa, right? Even if he never ever does nesuin with her, she's usher to the world. She needs a get after Erison. There's no suffix about that.
Correct. No, there's no suffix about that.
So when it comes to his schlusim in her, does he have any schlusim in her in general?
In which case?
When he's in Messiah, sir, does he have any schlusim in her in anything in any of her possessions?
When he's just engaged?
Yeah.
No, because he doesn't have to feed her till she's married, right? Till they're married. So
he doesn't yarshin her.
He does not yarshin her.
So then what's the suffix? He has nothing in her. What's schlusim does he have at all?
Because the mice is
he
still
could marry her?
Yeah. Right? He is Zeicher in her nechasim, that he is. When he is Zeicher in her nechasim, he doesn't get them yet, but they're his. Ultimately, they're his. Whichever, whether it's Nichse Milug, Nichse Tzayim Barzel, they do become his. Right? We'll see a little bit more on number base. Fine. So that's the first two cases in the Mishnah. Then Amar Rabbi Yehuda, Amar Lefan of Rabbi Gamliel. So Rabbi Yehuda says that they asked Rabbi Gamliel and they said, well, why are we saying that the sale is a good sale? If he's Zaycha in her nechasim, so then why is the sale a good sale? Now, the Rabbi Yehuda the Chacham could be asking on two scenarios. Why Beis Hillel disagrees lechatchila, or they could even be asking why bidieved does everybody say it's okay? So that's the Gemara Shaili. Rabbi Yehuda lechatchila. Is he going on lechatchila, meaning that Beis Shammai says that lechatchila she's even allowed to sell a lechatchila? So they're asking why is that allowed? Or bidieved, or is it going on bidieved, meaning why do both Beis Shammai and Beis Hillel say that if she sold the property when she was engaged, that the sale works? So we're not sure on which psak it's going on. So on Talmud Beis now, so Tashima. Since this one is wife and this one is his wife, meaning when she's engaged, she's his wife, and when they're married, she's his wife. Right? Zu machra batal. Right? So the same way, if she sells it by nesua, when they're married, it's batal. Avzu machra batal. So too, the engagement sale is also batal, and she's not allowed to sell it. That's what Rabbi Yehuda said. So Amar Lahan, Rabbi Gamliel said, Ala chadashim anu pashim. On the new properties that came after they were married, we're embarrassed that we don't understand why the husband even gets to have a taina. You're also rolling on to us the old case, meaning the property that she owned from before. So what do you see from that? So Shema Mina bidieved ka'amar, that it's even going on the bidieved. Right? So he's saying, because he says that abzu machra batal. So you see that they have a kasha that even bidieved, what's the shot even on the bidieved? So Shema Mina, that they're disagreeing even on the bidieved case. Fine. So now the Gemara brings a brisa similar to our Mishnah, but it's going to be Rabbi Gamliel. It's going to be a little different. So it's going to be a kasha on Rabbi Gamliel. So Tanya, Rabbi Chanina ben Akavia, like kach yeshivan Rabbi Gamliel lachacham. That is not what Rabbi Gamliel answered to the chacham. Elakach yeshivan. This is what he answered. Loi imam martin ben nesua. If you're talking about a nesua, that we say that the sale is no good. Shekain paila zaka b'mitziyasa u'b'maisiyah de'ava faras nedorah. Right, that's what Akiva was saying. Once they get married, the husband gets anything that she finds or any work that she does, and if she makes a neder, he has to be mat the neder. Tamru barusa, but when they're engaged, she'ein ba'al the husband is not zeichel loy b'mitziyasa v'loy b'masiyah v'loy b'faras nedara. He's not zeichel any of those things. So therefore, if she sells it, it should be good. So the Chacham said to him, Rebbe, so you're telling us where she sold it before she got married, but nisas v'achakach machra ma'u. But what happens if she got married and then she sold it? Right? Meaning, once she's married, it should go to the husband. So he said back to them, even when she's married, if she sells it, it should work. So they said to him, right, since he was Zaycha in a wife, is he not going to be Zaycha in the Nechasim? So we don't even understand. We're embarrassed even about the new land that she got after they were married. You're even rolling on to us, even the old lands. Right? So you see, so that was the interaction between the two. Right? So here clearly it's saying that if she bought land from before she was engaged or married, and then she sold it after she was married, that we hold that Rabbi Gamliel says that it goes back to the husband. But in the Mishnah, we didn't say that. The Mishnah said only if she inherited the land after she was married and then sold it after she was married, that's when she has to give it back, but not if she inherited it before they were married. So that's what it says. We learned in the Mishnah, if she got it before she was married, and then she got married and then sold it, if she sells it and she gives it, it's kaim. So it's a stira. In this brisa, it says that it's not kaim. Again, if she inherited it before she was married and sold it after she was married, and the Mishnah says it is kaim. So what do we go with? Samar of Zvid, Tani, Maicheres v'Nisanas v'Kayim. Change the Mishnah and say that it does work. Right? Not that it doesn't go back. Right? So we're just changing the Mishnah. Right? Peretz's classic favorite teretz. Right? Just change the Mishnah. You have a kasha, mistira, change the Mishnah. Right? Fine. So Rav Papa Amar loy kasha. Rav Papa said no, it's not a kasha. How Rabbi Yehuda aliba de Rabbi Gamliel. One is talking about Rabbi Yehuda according to Rabbi Gamliel. How Rabbi Chanina ben Akavia aliba de Rabbi Gamliel. And one is Rabbi Chanina ben Akavia according to Rabbi Gamliel. Meaning they're disagreeing as to what Rabbi Gamliel says. Right? But the problem is, if that's the case, so Rabbi Chanina ben Akavia is passing like Beis Shammai. Right? So Gemara asks, Rabbi Chanina ben Akavia ke Beis Shammai? Is Rabbi Chanina ben Akavia going like Beis Shammai? Right? Because according to Beis Hillel, even if she yashin when they were engaged and sold it when they were engaged, it's only bidieved does the mechira work. But lechatchila you're not allowed to do it. Right? Meaning, and if you go to Bezin and ask if you're allowed to do it, they're going to say no. Right? And Beis Shammai will say you're going to say yes. So Rabbi Chanina ben Akavia seems to be saying like Beis Shammai. Right? Because we allow even in the Nesua to sell it. So how can he say like Beis Shammai? So Beis Chanina ben Akavia says Beis Shammai and Beis Hillel don't have any Machlokes on us. They're not disagreeing. Our Mishnah says they are disagreeing, and this Rabbi Chanina ben Akavia says it's not. Fine. Now, how do we paskin? So Rav Shmuel, Damri Tavayu, Rav and Shmuel both say, whether she inherited things before she got engaged, or whether she inherited things after she got engaged. And then she gets married. The Baal could take it away, and it's and she's not allowed to sell it. So he can come and nullify the whole sale. So okay, so now who's he like? Who's Rav and Shmuel going like? So Kiman, who is it like? The like Rabbi Yehuda or like Rabbi Chanina ben Akiva, right? Akavi, I'm sorry. It's not like Rabbi Yehuda or Rabbi Chanina ben Akavia, right? Because nobody says that the sale is no good, bidieved, right? So who's Rav and Shmuel going like, right? So Inu, to one answers, Inu Da'amrika Rabbi Seinu, they go like our Rabbi Seinu, the Tanya, because we have a different sheet than a Brisa. Rabbi Seinu Chazru b'Nimnu. They went back and they made a vote. Whether she inherited before she got engaged, so whether she inherited after she got engaged, and she got married, the Baal takes it back. So basically, Rav and Shmuel are saying we paskin like the Rabbi Seinu in the Brisa, and not like anybody in our Mishnah, and therefore, bidieved, we even in all these cases, bidieved, we take away the field from whoever bought it, because she does not have a right once she's engaged, and kol shekin once she's married, she has no right to sell the fields. That's it. That's maskanas advarim. I have no idea how we paskin on this. But you have Rav and Shmuel agreeing, so it's hard not to go like that. Fine. So then we said Mishanissus, once she gets married, Elu Moedim, then everybody agrees that the husband could take it back, right? But that's if she inherited after they were married, and obviously she sold it after they were married, right? Till now we were talking about where she inherited before she got married, right? But once she got married, then everybody says that he gets to take it back. So the Gemara asks, maybe we have in our Beferish Mishnah that says the Takanas Usha. And the Takanas Usha was, and we had this a while ago, that in Usha they were masakin that if a woman sells her nichse milug during her husband's lifetime, meaning we said if she brings in a field, the field really it belongs to her, but he gets to eat the fruit, and she goes and sells it. So in Usha, they made a takana that if she sold it and then she died, then the Baal can go and take the field back from whoever bought the field from the wife. Right? So that sounds like our Mishnah. So what do you mean? What do you mean Usha they made? It sounds like in Usha they made a takana. Usha was after the Mishnayos. And Usha, they made a takana that the husband can go get back the fields. What do you mean? Our Mishnah says that he can go back if she sells the fields on him, he can go back and take it from whoever bought it. Right? So why is it a takana of Usha? So Gemara's kasha lem l'tanina l'takanas Usha. Right? So let's say that our Mishnah is teaching us the takana of Usha. Damar Rav Yosef Rav Chanina, for Usha hiskinu. The Usha they made a takana isha shamachra b'nichsa milug b'chaye bala. A woman who sells her nifsa milug during the life of her husband, umesa, and she dies, habal moitzim yana lekuchas. The Baal takes it from those that purchase it. So you see that's Usha, and our Mishnah is saying the same thing they did at Usha. So when I answer namaslisin bechaya uleperis, our Mishnah is talking about even when she's alive, and it's talking about the peris, right? Meaning, when she's alive, our Mishnah holds that he can go into the fields and take the peris. Once she dies, he gets back the karka. Takanas Usha begufa shel karka ula achar misa. And then Usha came along and said that he can even get back the land and after she dies. Right? So again, our Mishnah is talking about during her lifetime, and it's talking about the peris. And in Usha was talking about even after she dies and even the karka. All right. And the reason for that was that they were afraid if they're not going to allow this, then the husband's just going to give up on the field. He's not going to take care of the wife's field. So therefore they had to make that. Fine. Reb Shimon, Chaylek Bein Nechasim. Reb Shimon, so we said Reb Shimon, he differentiates between the types of properties, right? Meaning he says if the husband knew about the property, so then the property goes, she's not allowed to sell it. But if she didn't know about it, she's not allowed to sell it either. But if she did, the sale is valid. So what's you doing and what's not you doing? So that's what Gemara asks. Elu you doing, Elu hein shein you doing. What are things that she inherits that are known by the husband and what are not? Rab Yosef, Rab Chanina, you doing bekarkoi. Known lands is karka, right? Because everybody knows, right? You just go online and you could just see who owns karka, right? Shani, you're doing a metaltalin, things that he doesn't know about is metaltalin, meaning she could have yarshened jewelry. How's he supposed to know about it? Rabbi Yochanan Amar, you doing? No, Rabbi Yochanan disagrees. Says no, that everybody knows about. Both the metaltalin and the karka. He's going to know what his wife yarshens. Right? Ve'elu and shein you doing? What are the things that you don't know about? Kol sheyesheves kan v'nachlu lenechasim medinas hayam. If they're living in one country and she inherits things in a different country, so the husband obviously never knew about. I don't know if it's not obvious, but that he never knew about because it was in a different country. So since it was a different country, so therefore, if she's not allowed to sell it, but if she did, then the sale is valid. Tani nami hochi, elu ein shein you doing? These are the things that are not known. Kol sheyesheves, where kan v'naflu b'chasim v'diyasayim. So you have a brisa like this that agrees with this, that when it's what it means that it's not known, where he inherits the money in a field, or a field or whatever it is that is not in this country, it's a different country, whatever they don't know about. Fine. Now we start with the shtick that has to get pulled by second marriages, right? So somebody in the summer called me where a single girl was getting married, in her late 30s, and she had a lot of money. Obviously, she's in her late 30s. She was living at home, right? So she had lots and lots of money, right? I don't know, lots. They didn't tell me how much money she had. Then she was getting married to a guy who had a few kids, right? So now, what does she do about all this that she's bringing into the marriage? How do you go about that? She doesn't know what's going to be with these kids, if they're going to like her, not like her, this and that. She wants to rig it that these kids are not gonna, that her kids will get the Yerusha. We've had this, it's been indifferent, right? But essentially, her rabbi was looking for ways out of what do you call it? What do you do with her belongings to hide it, so that it doesn't, not hide it necessarily, but where to put it so that it doesn't go to the husband, right? So that's mamash this Gemara. So there was a wife. The boy, she wanted to run away. That's a literal translation. She wanted to make her belongings away from her husband, right? Because, so Rashi says, what's the case? She was an almana, and she was getting remarried. And what she did is she said she's going to write. It's a little different than the case we just described, but she has a daughter. Right, she's going to put all her belongings to the daughter, right, so that the husband won't take it from her. But she wasn't doing this legit. She wasn't giving all her belongings to the daughter. She was doing it only to keep it away from her husband. So what happens now? Now what happened? The daughter got smart, and she said, "Okay, now they're getting divorced." And she says, "Hey, it's all mine. My mother gave it to me. Look, here's the shtar." When the mother really didn't mean to give it to her, the mother just meant to give it to her to keep it away from her husband, right? So that's the case. So the boy doesn't.
The daughter's doing what her mother wanted, saying it's mine.
Correct. Now the daughter is stabbing her mother in the back. She says, "Listen, you gave me all the belongings. I'm not giving it back to you." Say that part. We didn't get to it yet. We're going to say it. So the boy did. She wanted to chase away her belongings from her husband, because so she wrote it all to her daughter. In Seva, she got married, and then she got divorced on Tamid Aleph. Now we'll go to the Mishnah because we want to anyways go a little bit ahead. So they came in front of Rav Nachman, right? She came in front of Rav Nachman to say to Rav Nachman, my daughter wants all my properties, but I never meant to give it to her. Kari Rav Nachman, the star, Rav Nachman ripped up the star. And he said, she came to me, she said she didn't mean that it should go to her daughter, so he ripped it up. So Azal Rav Anan Lakameda Mar Ukva, Rav Anan went in front of Rav Ukva, Mar Ukva, Amar Lei, Chazi Mar Nachman Chakla, look Mar Nachman, he didn't even call him Rav Nachman. He said Rav Nachman Chakla, Chakla, I don't know exactly, Yitach Chakla, Rashi says he's not a bucky in Choshen Mishpat. Right? And Mar Ukva was a bucky in Choshen Mishpat. So you know what happens when somebody starts paskening things that the other Rav thinks he's not qualified to pasken, so it makes a whole ruckus. So he said, so who's this Mar Nachman? How did he go rip up a star of a person? There's a star that says that the mother wrote everything over to the daughter. So who is he to come rip it up? Amrale, ain't really easy. Tell me now. Gufa de uvda hechihava. Tell me exactly how it went down. Right? So again, like you have to hear both sides. Right? Amrale, hachi v'hachihava. So he told him this is what the story was. Amrale, so he said to him, Shtar mavrachas ka'amrit. You're talking about a star of chasing the person away. Right? Hachi, and that, so he means he paskened correctly. Hachi amar Rav Chinoi bar Idi amar Shmuel. Moira Hairani, he said, I'm a Moira Haira, right? Meaning he's a what we call a posek, right? In him Yava Shtar, Mavreches Liyadi Akranu. If I ever get a star that comes in front of me, a star Mavreches, which is basically just a star that the mother writes to the daughter or whoever to keep them away to keep her assets away from her husband. So then I tear it up because she never meant with any good heart to give it over. Right?
Is this any different than a matana manasa hafs or shma matana or not shma matana? Is this totally in that sugya? Because why would this be any different? That's mamish what it is.
There's one difference. There's a star. It's not a matana.
It is a matana. A star. You can write a star matana.
You're not writing it as a shtar matana.
Well, it's a shtar matana.
Well, here they're writing a shtar matana.
If it was a shtar matana, you would have access to it.
It's a shtar matana that they're ripping up. That's the time on them. But it's a matana masahafser.
I wanted to ask from Tzviang, I don't understand what it means exactly. What kind of shtar is between the daughter and the mother?
She's giving a gift.
She needs to prove that her assets were given over to somebody.
But is it real or is it not? Does it have teeth or doesn't have teeth?
That's exactly the Machlokes here. So we're saying that it doesn't have teeth.
So on what basis does it not have teeth? Is it a shtar or is it not a shtar?
So we're saying in this situation where it's a second marriage, it's not a shtar because she only meant to do it to keep it away from her husband.
Could her husband come
which I don't understand. Right.
Why could her husband come down the next day?
Into what?
Go, shtar up, give it to me. It's mine.
No, because she didn't mean to bring it into her marriage. So that's a problem, right? Meaning,
if it doesn't have teeth, so then it belongs to the husband. If it does have teeth,
that's what Naftali's asking.
But Tiago, my point is that a matana manasa hafser, if it's considered a matana, even though it's a manasa hafser and it goes back to him, it's still considered matana to the person that you're giving it to. So that does work. So in the sugya matana manasa hafser, that would work that it could go to the person has a din to it, but it can go back to the other person. Both
I can make it like comments.
Both can be true if you hold matana shema matana. So why is the Gemara? What is that a different sugya to them? Why is the shtar mavrech any different than a matana nasa, or is that what they're stelling on?
No, because this is not al-manas. Well, you know what? Let's finish the Gemara.
It is al-manas. You're giving it to her, Kolzman, unless.
No, so we're going to see. Let's wait till the end of the Gemara because the Gemara is going to sort of answer your kasha, not exactly a reference to al-manas. Let's see. So Amrle Rava. So the Gemara asks Amrle Rava Rav Nachman. So Rava said to Rav Nachman, right? Rav Nachman again holds that you tear up the star, right? Time of my, why are you tearing it up? A person's not just abandoning all their properties to give it away to somebody else, what's that going to get them? The whole point is she's trying to keep it away from her husband. So what does she do? She gives it all to her daughter. So what's the point? She's going to be left an ani, right? The person doesn't leave all their belongings. So but that's true. But that's to give it to somebody else. But a person will give the money. A matana chaluta, Rashi says, they'll give a legitimate matana to the daughter, meaning the mother would rather her belongings go to her daughter than to her husband. In the second marriage, she doesn't know if it's even going to work. Right? So why are you tearing it up? Meaning he's asking him, don't compare a daughter to going over to a stranger and saying, hey, you want my belongings? So the answer is no. Even the daughter, her life is better, meaning her own life is still better than her daughter's. So therefore, we're not going to say that she possibly could have meant that she's giving everything away to her daughter. Okay. So then the Gemara says, Meisvei, so they have a kasha, right? If a woman wants to chase away her belongings from her husband, so what should she do? So Keseves, Shtar Pasim Lachedim, she writes a Shtar Pasim to others. I don't know why the Gemara changes the terminology. Shtar Pasim is the same thing, right? But it comes in the word pious, to convince, right? Meaning you convince somebody to take this as a present, right? Isn't that what everybody does this type of thing, right? You give away the belongings when you want to show you don't have assets or something like that. So you write the shtar, R Gamliel. But if you do that, then if they want, the guy that took the gift can actually laugh at you. And he can say, hey, you gave me your stuff, I'm keeping it. What they have to write is that I'm giving it to you from today, but it only kicks in when I want it to go to you. Meaning I'm giving you the shtar that it could potentially be that it's yours from today. However, you don't get it from today until I signal to you that it's yours, right? So meaning, now she has insurance all the way around because she gave away her properties to this guy, but it's not his. Even though the shtar says it's his, but it's not his because she wrote in the shtar. It's not his or him, whoever wrote the shtar. It's not the recipients until they get the signal. Once they give it to them, then it kicks back, right? So that's what the Chacham say you have to do. It's a time of the kosvele hachi. That the only reason why it works is because they wrote it with that type of terminology. Kosvele hachi, right? But if they didn't write this, kananei lekeach, so then the lekeach gets it. So how come Shmuel says that you tear it up, or Rav Nachman? How come they're all saying tear it up? Because the giver never meant it. From here, you see clearly that they did mean it. That's why you have to put in this tonight. So like kasha, Shmuel's talking about where she gave it everything away. So nobody's going to say that they're giving everything away. So it can't be that she meant it. And haba miktsasa, one is somewhere where she gave part of it away. If she gave part of it away, then it's going to be considered a gift unless she puts the t'nai into the shtar that it only goes to them when she signals it. So Gemara asks, this is the kasha you're asking. So the Eloi kanane lekeach. So if the lekeach doesn't get it, so then who does get it? Niknei Baal, and then the husband gets it. Right? This is Naphtali was asking this with the Akiva and Zeb, meaning Mamarashach. She's giving it away to the daughter, so the husband doesn't get it. So we're saying it's not a legit shtar to the daughter. Okay, so it's not a legit shtar to the daughter, so then the husband gets it. Right? She just got married to him. Whatever she brings into the marriage, he gets, or at least the payers, depending on how it goes in. So how can you say that? No, we look at it like it's belongings. Since she made this shtar with her daughter, we look at it like it's belongings that the Baal doesn't know about. But leave it to Reb Shimon, and it's going according to Reb Shimon, who says that any belongings that the Baal doesn't know about she's not allowed to sell it, but if she did sell it, then the sale is valid. So that's who we're talking about.
So she owns 100. So she owns 100 buildings in Farakwe, and it's like he doesn't know. He doesn't know about it. It's considered like he doesn't know about it.
Yeah. Because she wrote this shtar.
Well, what is this star doing? Yeah, I'm not.
So that's what now, according to the Maskana of the Gemara, the star is not really doing anything.
It's just making it that he can't get it.
Not even. It's just making it that he doesn't know about it.
According to most opinions, it's not going to work, this star.
Why?
The daughter gets it, because either the daughter gets it or the husband gets it. We're saying that it only goes according to Reb Shimon, who says that by her writing this star makes it that it's as if he didn't know about it, and therefore she's allowed to keep it.
So the whole thing is
that's how you're learning Aliva to Reb Shimon?
As opposed to what?
As opposed to what it does is it makes it like Reb Shimon, but everyone holds of this.
I didn't learn it like that. I didn't learn it like that, but could be you're right.
In article they bring down that we pass him like Reb Shimon, so it's not.
Yeah, but that's what do you mean?
No, if everyone holds like this, if everyone holds like Reb Shimon in this seer, then don't say we pass him like Reb Shimon. It's just everyone holding this in this seer. It's a master from the Reb Shimon that we actually pass him like Reb Shimon, and it's not. Like we're not going to the Haman.
Right, we pass him like him because this is because the Gemara is going with Reb Shimon's Shita. Okay, we'll stop here. I know it's a little bit star.
So this star is basically
logging off here. I don't know what time tomorrow. I guess I'll decide with Aaron Kaplan. Figure what time? Time is 5:30, 5:35.
They'll tell us tomorrow.
All right, 5:35. Yeah, let's figure 5:35. All right, good to know. Yeah. So what are you saying, Terry?
No, it's just so basically this whole star is a sham. Even it's nothing.
Correct. According to most opinions, this thing is nothing. It's not going to work.
Well, it will work for the husband to protect from the husband, right?
No, not only according to Reb Shimon. Only according to Reb Shimon. Everybody else is going to say not.
But this is we said I'll leave it to Reb Shimon.
What?
We said it's like Nechasim Shein you do a Labal, and it's a libid to Reb Shimon.
Right. So not according to Reb Shimon, this won't work.
Right. If you don't go according to Reb Shimon,
Mavrachas will never work, except according to Reb Shimon.
So how did she keep away her stuff?
She's not.
Doesn't.
She can't. She has to do it legit.
What? She has to give it to what?
She has to give it legit to her daughter, and she has to hope and pray. That the daughter.
See, I think this is where what Akiva was saying before, that it's a matana mas ha'achzer. It's not. This is not a matana at all. This is not given over to the person that she's writing it over to. It belongs to her. It completely belongs to her. The only thing this star does is hides it from the husband. So she can get around it. If she wants, she can give him matana mas ha'achzer, but there's no date of the chazara. If matana mas ha'achzer works, if it's called shma matana, then technically she could give it to anyone. She could write a shtar matana to who knows who and say, but you have to return it in 20 years, whatever it is.
Right.
That would work according to Kili Alma.
So how logically today does like the case with the girl? You said she's 37 and she has married the husband. How does she keep that money away?
Like this, with the shtar mavrachas, we pass him like Reb Shimon.
Running around, maybe I don't know.
Of course, I'm going to bring back tomorrow.
All right.
The case with your girl, the girl that came to you.
Yeah.
How do you keep it away? How does she keep it away?
I have no idea. I said I have no idea. Right?
So if we pass him like Reb Shimon, this would work. Shtar mavrachas.
All right. I got to know.
No, that's what. No, you have to give it. I don't know what the guy didn't follow me. I told him to call one of the Bezdins in Lakewood. I said, I'm sure they have a way to do this.
Either that or they'll make up an answer to you.
That could be.
It could be.
That's right. All right.
This is me being censored.
Yeah. Have a wonderful. A good night.
Have a good night.
Good night.
All right.
Thank you.
Are you ready for the post?
I'm ready. I'm ready.
Did you read it
Actually,
over?
it's good because in an hour and a half, I have to be in a meeting, and it'll be good time to spend during the meeting doing that. So.
Okay, so I'll probably send it soon.
Well, he answers the questions back?
No. He sends the screenshots.
I forgot. A guy texted in. Did I? I don't think I sent this to you. A guy wants to know who you are. What should I respond to him?